Our theme is sustaining growth and earnings in a digital era. And you know the golden rules, which talks about the people, the process, and technology. And we also know some strategy that sometimes has been used, like the triple bottom line theory, where we look at the profit, we look at the people and the planet. But that is besides why we are here. But today, I would again not overemphasize, but allow Hazel to break it down for us a bit before we now go to the questions that we are going to ask our panelists. And we are going to have a session of asking several questions. And then after that, we will have a very interactive question and answer from the audience. And then we wrap it up.
Okay, so I'll start from, I think, the tail end of our theme. We are in a digital era. Do you agree or not agree? And in this digital era, should we thrive, should we survive, or should we just wither and die? That is exactly why we are here, so that we can learn how to take advantage of these platforms. Our panelists will give us practical examples, not theoretical stories, but they'll tell us, this is how you do this, these are the things to avoid, these are the do's and the don'ts. So why are we talking about these issues of digital era? Insurance industry has grown, and unfortunately, or is it fortunately, sometimes we are playing catch up in digital technology. But one of the reasons we are having this conversation is to catch up and make sure we are also competing at the same level as other sectors, other businesses in the digital space. And as we are doing this, we need to do it strategically. And at the same time, we also need to make sure we are protecting our consumer privacy. I'm sure you've seen people being slapped with penalties from the Office of the Data Protection. Muliona. So when you go to places nowadays, you find that there is a poster that's telling you that there'll be photographs. For example, this event, I don't know if you saw the cards. We've said it in advance. We will take pictures, and we've told you how we are going to use them. So that is so important in today's world, and ensuring that we protect the privacy of people so that you don't get penalties. So those are some of the things that we'll be learning today from our panelists. Are we together? Leo mimi nitakuwa mwalimu. Tuko pamoja? Yeah.
And just to remind us about our hashtag, we have AKI Awards as our hashtag, the Twitter handle. We have AKI_Kenya. We also have the Facebook account, which is AKI Kenya. And we also have our AIG AKI Kenya. Now I was just looking at a few things yesterday, and they were talking about where do Gen Z invest? And I think as much as it's not in the list of our questions, but I think maybe we'll have to look at it. It was a very interesting story yesterday that was in the Business Daily. And if you look at it, those are the people that now are buying our products, or they are going to be buying our products in future. But I think just to go straight to the questions in the interest of time, then I'll give Hazel to lead us through the questions.
All right. So we'll start with, this one is directed to all the panelists. Is it important for insurance sales agents to build a strong online presence?
Maybe we start with Eunice.
Ladies first.
Good morning. Is it important that all of you build an online presence? The answer is yes. Hazel was an agent, an insurance agent. I still am. And in 2010 was my first AKI event. I was seated where you're seated. And I started my blog in 2012. And I started selling insurance online those days when it was not a threat then. It was just out of, curiosity. Can we sell insurance online? So is it important that an agent has a online presence? Now, what did my blog do? What I used to write, and then I would share on my Facebook, and the more people read, the more they trusted me. So online presence makes you be known, liked, and trusted. Now, before you even have those face-to-face conversations or even the Zoom conversations, people need to know you, like you, and trust you. It shortens the whole journey of knocking doors, the cold calling, as we call it, such that people can even meet you on the streets and say, yes, I know you, So it is very important for building trust and credibility. That is just a beginning.
Good morning and happy International Women's Day. I'm happy to be here. Okay, back to the question. I think, yes, it's very important, and observations such as those, I hope many of the agents here have already posted something, especially the ladies and especially the men. I think from a point, Eunice has spoken well. Maybe I just want to go to a data point because your digital age has a lot of data. So if we look at some numbers, the Communication Authority of Kenya tells us that as of last year actually, that 94% of Kenyans could access 3G or 4G services wherever they are in Kenya. It's a big statistic because it means that even if I cut across and I'm going to Narok, Masai Mara, I'm still on my phone and I'm able to access your WhatsApps when you're telling me, look at your policy, look at this option and this option. Kenya is doing really well because in comparison, even our neighbors next door, their penetration might not even be over 40, 50%. If you've gone to Tanzania, you can move from Dodoma to Dar es Salaam, and in between that road trip, there is no internet. So you just stay in the bus if you're using a bus and wait to arrive. Also, I had a pertinent, Gen Zs, millennials, where are they investing? And that's about 74% of the population in Kenya now. They are under 35 years. So they are used to this mobile phone that they are walking around with, that they are getting information on. They must not wait for a flyer or to meet you personally. You can start building that trust and engagement with them. And one of my big beliefs is that I tell anybody, even older than me, even my mom, who's 64, 65, that she's digitally savvy. And to be able to sell to somebody, you have to be able to be in their circle, like in their influence. So if you are what I would consider maybe older and I feel like a millennial Gen Z, I feel like you're a fossil. You're telling me to come and print some documents and sign and understand a flyer. The level of connection or possibility of you to sell to me might be highly reduced. So I believe it's really pertinent for agents to continue to build trust and confidence online. Yeah.
Just as other presenters have indicated, I also agree that moving digitally or having online presence for your business is very important, especially in this digital era, and especially also if you are doing it in the right way and you are putting in place measures to protect that data that is online. It will boost confidence in your customers. It will boost your reputation. And right now, no one will want to share. People are so aware of their rights, privacy rights. And even as you go online, they want to know how you are safeguarding their data. And the more you do it, the right way you do it, the better for you.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. I want to move to Moses, and as you are answering that, I also want you to give digital strategies, digital marketing strategies that us all here can use to extend our client base and increase sales in this very competitive market.
Good morning, everyone, and happy International Women's Day to all the ladies here. And just as a point, I think when we stood up to do the exercise, I noticed there were more women than men in the room. Correct or not? So, wanawake wana ongoza. Insurance Kenya, sindio? Okay, very good, very good. So, Hazel, I'll try in my best way possible to share. So, let me ask you guys a question. How many people in Kenya are online? Do we know? Can we guess? Anyone? 10 million, 20 million? More? How many of us are on WhatsApp? All of you on WhatsApp. Sema ukweli. What about Instagram? Facebook? For the Baba and the Mama? TikTok? Wachache. So the number is about 30 million, right? So when you think about the addressable market for your products, it's 30 million people potentially you can reach. What's the penetration of insurance in Kenya today? I thought it was 3%. So about 3%, right? So what that tells us is that there's a big opportunity to reach close to 30 million people online, all right? And I think as Eunice mentioned earlier, the most important thing is that when people go online, they find you, right? Before even they meet you, before they see you knocking on the door, they find you. And that means you need to build your digital profile, or what we call your digital personal brand. To do that, you need to make sure that you're on all the platforms that matter today. And the two platforms today where you can really build your business online without spending any money on advertising are TikTok and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is good for sharing information about your knowledge, about things that you know, about things that are helpful to your customers. And that information is when you publish it online, even if you have 0 followers, a majority of people are going to find it. But the good thing about LinkedIn is that it allows you to send things like newsletters. You can write long-form content, you can put videos, you can even have webinars on it, and it doesn't cost you anything. All right, so as an individual, if you're trying to reach especially businesses, in fact, I'd say in the general insurance space, I think LinkedIn is the perfect platform. But don't put information that is boring, put information that educates or informs your customers. On the other side of TikTok, one of the things we noticed today, if you talk to younger people, is they'll tell you that when they want to find information online, they don't even go to Google. They actually go to TikTok. And they go to TikTok and they search for information there. Now again, if a young person is looking for you on TikTok, and in Kenya today, the majority of young people are using TikTok and also Instagram, and they don't find you, then the opportunity to do business is lost. Now the best thing about TikTok is you don't have to twerk. You don't have to do a dance. All right? So many people are scared of TikTok because they think you have to dance. No, you don't. There are many people who just take the phone, put it in their car, and they're talking. And they would say something like 3 things you need to know about buying life insurance in Kenya. 5 things you need to know about the data protection in Kenya as an insurer. Give people advice and insights about things they don't know about. The 3 things you need to know about medical insurance, and on and on and on. But the most important thing is that when you put that video there, just like LinkedIn, even if you don't have any followers, you don't have to dance. You just say, these are the 3 things, give the explanation, and you publish it online. Okay? And that way people start to find you. And that's what we call building a personal brand. Now, of course, make sure you're also posting on Facebook and other platforms that are important because you want to reach different age groups. Younger people are spending more time on Instagram and TikTok. Older people are spending more time on platforms like TikTok and LinkedIn. LinkedIn and Twitter. But the most important thing is that if you're not online, people cannot find you. If you have a business location and you don't have a website, there's another thing you can also do called Google Business Profiles. This means that if somebody goes to Google, even if you don't have a website, and searches insurance agent Karen or Langata insurance agent, and at the very least you put your little business over there and somebody can find your physical location, guess what? They might actually come to your door and come to buy product from you. All right? So those are some of the tips and recommendations that I can give you. But the one thing I want you to take away is that there are 30 million Kenyans online. Insurance penetration is 3 million. There's an opportunity to be visible online and be found for the products and services that you offer as an insurance agent. Thank you.
Team. Now I want to ask all the panelists, but I'll start with Eunice. In what ways can an insurance agent use technology to help in building their brand reputation and also maintaining a relationship with our customers?
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's a continuation of what he has shared. And it's important to ask. And I like what Moses said. It's not about twerking on Twitter and all that. what exactly are you doing online when you go online? What I see most agents do is you create a poster and say, we have this education policy called Super E. I'm saying Super E because it's the one I understand. The people who sell Super E, you know yourself. So you see that the challenge is when you just go to sell, to advertise products, people won't follow you. Why? Because people don't care about you. They don't care about your products. They care about themselves. Are we together? Now, many times we salespeople, we think that really people love us, and you're going in to say, well, yeah, I need to meet AKI. I know the drill, Kwanza December. I have to do 12 applications between now and 31st of December. Who cares? We don't care about that. What people care about is their dreams, their aspirations, their desires, their pains, their challenges. That's what they care about. And that's what you care about too, isn't it? You're here because you care about yourself, isn't it? Now, so when you go online, and then you're going to tell people about your products, what happens? You repel them. So when you go online, you need to understand, who is my target customer? If it is Gen Z, and you know that they do photography or they do gigs, what do they want to hear about? It is how they can be able to save money for their camera, isn't it? So they care about their camera more than they care about your whatever, money back or money market. All right. So you need to educate them on how. ICA, please tell me your product. I'll mention it. Anyway, so they care about their camera. So how does this product, and when I started selling insurance, we were taught how to know your product, know the product features, okay? So that the focus is on product features more than the people. Now that has changed, and that is why probably you're struggling to sell now. Because people now are more of, show me how I get to my goals. Show me how I educate my child. That's what they care about. So when you go online, focus on, what do my customers want? What is going on in their life right now? What are the challenges they are facing? Talk about those things, and they will come. There's something we call attraction selling. So when you do that, you start attracting people because you're educating, you're informing, you are inspiring. Sawa sawa? Let me stop there so that I allow the other panelists.
I'll pick it up from where Eunice has left, and I just want to start with a question. I'll use my fellow panelist as an example. Do you think this is the largest number of people Moses has spoken to this year, seated together? Do you think? No. Why? Yeah? Interesting. Yeah, you say no, all of you agreeably, that this might not be the first opportunity to speak to 1,000 people, 1,000 plus. I follow Moses religiously as well because I also want to keep informed with digital, right? He has 20,000 plus people who look at his content and understand and believe he's a thought leader. Moses is actually maybe seated here because he has also made the AKI people know that he's a thought leader and he's been brought on a national platform, right? On top of the top guys in Kenya in insurance, right? Imagine that type of influence that you can create by being that thought leader, by being somebody who is addressing the needs of your customers, by having a deep understanding first of the products and how they can help the different segments. If you're talking about like education policies, to me who is a younger person who I'm yet to have my kids, to me it will connect maybe when I know. And I sat in an insurance sales training once and I resonated so much because the person told me, do you want to take your child to Harvard? And I was like, yeah, that would be a good thing. They told me the fees of Harvard. And I was like, $300,000 US per year. I was like, here? where will I get? Now it's 4.5 million. That time it was only 3 million, which I still found as a crazy figure. So it's 3 million per year, assume they're there 4 years. If they're really smart, if they go another year, then they're costing you more. So you can imagine talking to a young parent or young or soon-to-be parent about how they'll raise 15 million so that their child can get the dream education that they desired. And doing that online to a section like this that has 10,000, you have a 10,000 influence over those people. That person will come to your messages and tell you, I'm very interested in this product. I want to, not with any bias or anything, but one person I follow about in the insurance industry is a lady called Mama Bima. I don't know if she's here. Yeah? You guys know Mama Bima? Can I tell you how deep her influence is? She influences me to talk about her without ever meeting her in panels, in trainings, and I show her as an example of how people should educate, entertain, show people about products, and she's able to talk to, no matter the age, Gen Z, she just picks a product, and she's able to tell me, you want to leave a legacy. There's a product about leaving a legacy in 10 years or something, and you can leave your kids with 50 million. I'm like, hey, how? I don't think I can save 50 million. But she talks about that product, and she shares with a premium of like 10K per month. I'm like, how will 10K make to be 50 million? I become so interested, I ask. I become so interested, I refer that video. And if you've seen her reels or things on TikTok, on Instagram, the circle of influence she has is like 50,000 people will see that reel. Just like that, by sharing a video where she's, as Moses said, sitting in the car, just saying, do you imagine, do you imagine, do you imagine, adding some text, and she has educated somebody who will then end up buying a product. So when we're talking about real case studies or real examples that can help you, those are some of the examples. I believe in creating influence, and by being knowledgeable, and maybe it goes out to the insurers as well, or the head of the insurance bodies, that we need our agents to also be empowered by education. You know, a panel like this is great, but what about if you could do a training for your team to better understand how they can use or know the products, then understand how those products and bring engagement, excitement, education, entertainment, and empowerment. If you Google those, they're called, I think, the 5 E's of content. And very simply, I believe any of you are knowledgeable and sharp enough to look at Alex and say, I think I should educate him about policy B. I think I should educate him about, and people in different ages. So just a bit of thought on that, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Alex. So guys, tufanye summary kidogo. If you don't exist online, do you exist? So you must have an online presence, Indio. And then when we are selling, are we selling for ourselves? Ama we need to understand who our customer is first. Are we selling to ourselves or to our customers? Yeah. Nixon?
And I think we are being reminded that people don't care about us, and it's about their dreams and aspirations. But let me ask you, what are the common mistakes that maybe an insurance sales agent can avoid when making a digital platform? For example, if I'm in TikTok and I'm called Ndovuku or Manziwa Islando, and then if you go to my LinkedIn, I am Nixon Yala, working for so-and-so, and these are the things. I'm just asking, as a layman, is it right or wrong to the panelists?
Wow. Yeah, how can you know, I want to ask all of you here. You have your phone, right? Google your name. Right now. Just Google your name. I'm not saying your name as in, if you're called Eunice, Google Eunice Minor. You get? So, you know, there's a place I went and I asked, Google your name, and they said, your name. What comes out? Some of you will be very embarrassed at what Google knows about you. Because whatever it is you put in online, it doesn't matter what platform, that becomes permanent, and now for you guys, pensionable. As in, it's there to stay. So one of the mistakes is, when you don't have a brand identity, like what you're saying, Dovuku, Manzi wa Islando, what is that? And then you're expecting to offer financial services. So be clear on who are you. Your personal branding. Personal brand is what you want people to know about you. You can dictate. Yes, you know who you are, but you don't have to say everything about you. But you can choose, depending on my target customers, who do I want them to identify me with? Okay? So if you're a financial advisor, financial consultant, use the right name for that. And number 2 is always telling people. We normally say posting is not selling, telling is not selling. It is educate, inform, get people to come to you because of what they need. Yeah. Those are the 2.
Maybe we can also get a reaction from Moses.
What are the common mistakes that we should avoid
when you're on the digital platform?
Hello? Okay. Common mistakes that you can
avoid
on a digital platform. Yeah, I think you brought up a very important point, consistency of branding, right? So if you can have 2 personas, right? You can have the Islando persona, which is fun and games, but you have the professional profile, which is what you use for work. Okay, so you can have 2 separate accounts. But when you have a brand that you're trying to build, whether you're, Amos Karaoke, if that's your name, across all the platforms you want to make sure that it's the same. The other thing I think there's a big opportunity about is having a domain name. I don't know if any of you have a domain name for your emails, whether you have a website for your company or yourself. But a lot of people, when they receive an email from Gmail, the first thing they think is this person legit, right? And especially if you're an independent agent, you want to consider investing in an email and a domain name so that when you send that email, just like a business card, it presents you in a professional manner. The other thing I think I just want to add to what has been said here around content is I think there are 3 things that people love about content that is good from an insurance perspective, because the truth be said, most people don't understand insurance. Would you agree? Most of your customers have no idea. And for the most part, even me, I tell my insurance agent, look, assist me. Which is the best health policy? Which is the best car insurance? Which is the best? And he advises me and recommends what I need. So in many cases, most of the market sees you as a trusted advisor. All right? And what that means in a digital sense is that you want to be the answer to the question. That means the content you create is not content about what you were doing last night at Carnival, but the content you're creating is about things that answer the questions that your customers have about insurance. So always think about creating content that speaks to how do I need when I need a medical policy? How do I get an education policy? What does this new law mean about this and that? Right now I think the big issue is the Social Health Insurance Fund. People are asking questions about that. But if you are constantly the person who's answering the question, the trusted advisor, then people will start to gravitate towards your content. So be the answer to the question that everyone is putting in Google and the platforms. The last thing I want to say is that because creating content is not always easy, there's a wonderful thing that came out in November 2022. Do you guys know what it's called? ChatGPT. ChatGPT today has over 100 million users globally. And in fact, there are situations even in Kenya where students are using it to do homework. But the point is, if you're having a challenge creating content, think about using things like ChatGPT, put in the information you know about the particular products and maybe the insurance laws in the country. And ChatGPT allows somebody who maybe doesn't have the ability to write well to suddenly have content they can use on their social media profiles. So think about that in terms of something that can help you produce content that is then on your social media profiles that's answering the question to the problems and the issues that your potential customers have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Moses. Are we taking notes? Are these tips and tools practical? Did you Google your name? Yes. What came out? Yeah? If the word financial advisor did not appear, you need to start doing some more work in that space. Yeah? I think now we've understood that number one, we need to be present online. Number two, we need to be trusted advisors. And that means we need to do a lot of education and informing. Yeah? And now I want to move on to the other section of what we need to take care of to make sure we don't land on the wrong hand of the law. So we've now understood that we need to be present, what we need to do to reach more clients, to be more trusted. So now I want to understand this Data Protection Act. How does it relate to us as insurance sales agents?
And Hazel, before we do that, let me just do the data privacy note, because we are talking about that. So we are saying that AKI award events will have photography, videography, and this will be used in the AKI publication and social media platform. I don't know if Rebecca was marking that. Would you give me 11 out of 6? If you're marking that statement, I don't know whether you'd give me 11 out of 6. Data privacy note, AKI Awards event will have a photography and videography. This will be used in AKI publication and social media platform.
Yes, you've stated the data that you'll collect. You stated the purpose. But you've not given me an option to opt out of it. If I don't want you to collect my personal data, which is my photograph, do I have an option to opt out of it, to say no?
Okay, then now we go to the question that Hazel is now asking. Why is the Data Protection Act, and how does it relate to me as an insurance agent?
Okay, thank you. First of all, we have to understand that data is at the center of insurance underwriting. We can't run away from it. We all, as insurance agents, you interact with data. And that is how the Data Protection Act comes in to now regulate what you do with our data. Looking at the type of data that you collect as insurance agents, this is health data. There is financial data that you collect. That is a lot of what we call sensitive personal data. So as even you are collecting that kind of sensitive personal data, we want to know how you are securing it under the Data Protection Act. Maybe just to go back a little bit, the Data Protection Act was enacted in 2019 to give life to Article 31C and D of the Constitution of Kenya, 2010. And under the Data Protection Act, we have different parties, like we have a data subject. Who is a data subject? That client of yours, you go and collect their data. The owner of that data is the data subject. Then we have personal data. What is personal data? It is that data like a name, like the photograph he's talking about, that is your personal data. That data, information that can identify you as a person. Then we have another subset of personal data, which is sensitive personal data. That is the kind of data which, if leaked out there, my reputation will be at risk. Then we have people called data controllers and data processors. Who is a data controller? A data controller is that person who determines the means and the purpose you are collecting that data. What about the data processor? And most of you are data processors when it comes to the insurance agent relationship. The data processor is that person who processes personal data on behalf of the controller. He or she doesn't determine the means of collection and the purpose for which that data is being collected. For example, if the insurance company asks you to go out there, collect certain data for purposes of, let's say, taking an, let's say, what type of covers do you, like life insurance. Maybe we tell you, I need the name, I need the ID, I need the photo, I need the names of the, maybe the kin. Now that one is the controller, you are the processor. Another reason why Data Protection Act is at the core of insurance companies is because looking at the relationship in an insurance industry, we have the insurance company, we have even investigators, we have the agents. How are these people relating when processing personal data? As a processor, how are you relating with the controller? How are you relating with the third parties? Maybe cloud service providers. Data Protection Act now comes in to define that kind of relationship in terms of processing personal data. Are you entering into data controller, data processor contracts? What is this contract saying about your relationship? Because actually as a processor, you are supposed to carry out instructions of the controller. You are not supposed to come up with your own instructions, do your own things, and if you do that, actually you'll be liable under the Data Protection Act. Are you reporting breaches that occur while you are processing the personal data of people? Another issue is automated decision making. This is used a lot by insurance companies. You do profiling. You profile a client and know whether he qualifies for certain policy or not. As you are doing that, the Data Protection Act is asking, are you informing this data subject that is affected? Are you telling them that their decision will be made automatically by some machines? Are there human interventions in cases of errors? And if they don't have an option, are you informing them before you process them, their personal data? Insurances also do a lot of marketing, commercial marketing using personal data. As you are doing that commercial marketing, are you seeking consent? Are you doing an assessment of the rights and freedoms of the data subject versus the interests that you are pursuing? Because as you do that assessment, as a regulator, when a complaint arises, actually, I will want to know if you did the assessment. If you did not do, you'll be liable. There are so many ways the insurance company and the Data Protection Act interact, but those are just few examples.
Okay.
I was going to ask a question because I know we went through this process as a company. There's also the registration to become a processor or a controller. Maybe you can explain that to them?
Yes. Then, even before you think of processing that data, ask yourself, are you registered as a data controller or data processor? When you look at your common data, you might be data processors because you are doing this on behalf of insurances. But even as an agent, you also have employees in your workplaces. Meaning, you are also a data controller of that personal data of your employees. The Data Protection Act requires you to register as a data controller or a data processor or both before you handle any processing of personal data. And we have several, when registering, you can go to our website, you will find the registration portal which will lead you, but 3 key documents that you need for registration is the establishment document, you need audited accounts. If you do not have, maybe you started like some few months ago, you need to have your estimates of your revenue. Or if let's say you are a small company and you cannot afford the audited accounts, you can have KRA returns. Then when you log in, it will lead you up to the end. A certificate is issued and it expires after 2 years, where you're supposed to renew. Yes, those categories for, depending on your establishment document.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. And I think we are learning, and today we are told that there should be a data controller and there is a data processor. So who is a data processor? Is it you or the client? And who is the controller? And registration? Are you guys very attentive? And as we go to the next question, I just want to ask, what are the key challenges that we face as agents when you're trying to embrace the digital platform? Of course, from the perception of what people know as in the industry is that we are very slow to a lot of things, including transformation and all that. But I think that could be a misnomer because we are always there. So my question to Eunice is, what are the challenges that we might face or we are facing as salespeople when we are trying to embrace the technological transformation as we again build our personal brand?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. One of the challenges that, as I said, we're also an agency, and one of the biggest challenge is the other side. They are not here. The people who sit in the offices, are they here? We are here alone, eh? So you all know that, yes, you can do the online selling, you can do everything online, but then the application, si lazima upeleke kwa client assign. That makes it very difficult to reach, or has that changed? Oh, it has. Oh, wow. Well done. So then that's not a challenge anymore. Then you should be the one telling us what challenges you'll be facing. Yeah? I thought that is one of them. But also what I hear many agents say is, what if I get, bullied online? Is that the question you have? How do I make sure that I'm not bullied online? I think I'll forward that to Moses. I would like to hear his view also before I share mine.
So being bullied as a person online, unfortunately, yeah, the nature of the internet is that you always have what we call trolls. People who, I think you've heard of somebody called Cyprian Yakundi, for instance, right? Yeah, and people like that who seemingly like to attack people online. The good news is that I think thanks to offices like the ODBC and also our laws in Kenya now, if somebody says something that is wrong or attacks you, we do have laws for things like defamation. You can actually take legal action when it happens to you. But also as you're publishing content and information, if somebody's sending you a message as Wanjiku 789 and you don't know who she is, it's also hard to take action against somebody who's hiding their identity. But most important thing really is that, you're there online to serve, you're there to find business, you're there to provide information and insight, including, things that people are going to actually find useful about insurance from you. And if you do get, bullied or trolled, the most important thing is to remember that if anybody's doing that to you, then you just want to try and ignore them and prioritize focusing on the objective, which is pushing out valuable content that eventually is going to get you customers. The other thing I want to state is that trolls usually become visible when you start becoming successful, right? If you start doing really well online, that one Jiku 798 is the one who's going to start attacking you. So again, invariably, like in many things in life, the more successful you become, the more jealousy you might create. And even digitally, this is something that becomes a problem. So those would be my recommendations. But if the person is known and you know their identity, then you do have the recourse of looking through the bodies and the laws and finding out how you can then take action against that person. Yeah.
Yeah, so at this juncture, let's just appreciate our panelists as we go along. And we want to give the audience a chance. Maybe you can ask maybe one question from this side and maybe another question from this side as we go on. So anybody with a question?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Janet. I work for Jubilee Insurance. I'm in the online space. I have a TikTok account. I want to ask, it's not easy. I want to ask about imposter syndrome. Sometimes you shoot a video and you're like, if I post this, what will people say? Sometimes you will shoot a video and post it. Someone will come to your inbox and ask for advice. So when I created that account, I'm looking at it from two platforms. One, I don't want to give my knowledge for free. I want to monetize that. I want to be paid for advising. I want to be paid for advising. I don't want to give my knowledge for free. My decade of experience can't be just cashed out for free, so that's one. The other one is, sometimes someone will come and attack me. And like there's a video I posted when that time that the dollar went down. And I was like, this is not the time for you to be selling your dollars. Because it's not like, I believe that time, the way the dollar was behaving was actually not how a market behaves. It behaved like that because we had an influx of the Eurobond monies that came. So that's why the dollar went down. So people came and attacked me and I switched off my comment section because I was like, I can't deal with that vibe. Yeah.
Okay, from this other side, I think we can take another one in adapting technology. I'll stand here. Does anybody want to share?
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, my name is Merino Keo from Liberty Life Assurance. I'm a financial advisor and a coach. I'm a great follower of Eunice. You inspire me a lot. So my question is it okay to have different names based on different social media platforms? I'm equally on social media. So example, in LinkedIn, you find people there are so professional. So maybe you may need to use that, your official name on that specific platform. So is it a good thing to do that so that you have different names on different social media platforms?
Last question before we go. I think I saw a hand here.
I also see one on this side. Let's take two and then we can give the panelists a chance.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Buru from ICA Lion. So the lady who talked about data protection, you did a good job, but you only talked about data protection as a company. I think most of us here are not the people who are at the back office, so maybe you can give us a few tips, data protection as financial advisors. Thank you.
I didn't catch your name. From Jubilee, what's your name? Janet. Thank you for your question. I think mine was on knowledge sharing. I applaud you for the efforts you're doing to keep online and share this information. I think take Moses' tips, or I'll defer back to him on online bullying. It will happen. People have different opinions. And I usually say that we can agree to disagree. Yes, my opinion is from a financial advisor. You might just be a commentator, right? Are you holding dollars? Do you even have dollars that we are commenting about, right? So secondly, around knowledge creation and sharing, I believe kind of like what I shared earlier. When you have a bit, it's like the tip of the iceberg. What you can really share in the experience you have in one post, or even in a post over the whole year, can never be what you know and what you can advise, especially personally. One of the things I believe in is that though we can have thousands of people, let's avoid that spray and pray, that I'm just throwing out things there and hoping that it relates to somebody, that we can be able to curate things that I'm understanding to this one, I'm understanding, so that it can start relating. What is it to professionals? And I liked that people on different platforms. On TikTok, I'm a professional, or on LinkedIn, I'm a professional like this, like this. You are sharing a tip of the iceberg. So one of the things that I wondered is, have you created that platform? I might want to come to you because I've seen, wow, that's very informative. I'd like to know more. Is there a product, even as a financial advisor, that you have that you can tell them, you know, I consult even for 1,000 bob and I can give you information? Do you have maybe even a webinar that people join, and it goes into then creating products that people can come into? Maybe one day it's a free knowledge session because you know you can convert 20, 30 people who want to come to the webinar, and you leave with 3 people who will sign up for a policy. So you have to think about the end goal of like a product or the content that you're producing. Thank you.
If it's building your personal brand as an individual, right, as the financial expert, then what you want to do is have a consistency across all the platforms. So let's just say, for discussion's sake, you decide to open a handle like @Meriwanjiku on Twitter. Preferably you want to maintain the same identity on Instagram and any other platform for that matter. However, when you talked about 2 profiles, one of the ways you can do that, like we do as a company, is that I have my individual profiles, and then you have the company or agency-specific profiles. So you can create a distinction between the two. That is, what is you as an individual, and then what is you as a business or an agency. And that way then you can have clarity around when you're talking as yourself, and then when also you're talking as a business. All right? But more often than not today, we see that the individual or the personal brand sometimes is even bigger than the business brand. And I guess a good example of that is somebody like Elon Musk. Elon Musk runs Tesla, but more people know Elon Musk than Tesla itself. A lot of the business that Tesla gets is because of the personal brand reputation of Elon Musk. So the personal brand sometimes is actually the reason why people then come to your business. What we call the front end, and then the business becomes the back end where you monetize. Yeah. And coming back to your question, it's kind of like in marketing we call it top of the funnel, right? So when you're creating information that's insightful, educational, informative, and even entertaining, you're creating that top of mind awareness because of that top of the funnel. But the bottom of the funnel, which is where somebody actually buys your product or service, is now what you're trying to draw them into. But at the top of the funnel, if they don't even know you exist, then they can't get to the bottom. All right? So you want to make sure that people are seeing your content, even if you think it's highly intellectual. But the agenda is that at the end of that content, you usually say, if you'd like to get in touch, if you'd like to have a personal consultation, if you'd like to meet in person for me to give you a personalized solution, then that is what happens at the end of that content. But the purpose of that content is to create awareness and visibility with the intention of eventually converting that person into a customer.
You see, many times, it's true, we know a lot. But you realize that most of the things that you know actually are known, they're public knowledge. Anybody who reads has the same information that you have, isn't it? And so sometimes you get so summed up in, I know so much. That is very good. And what Moses is saying is that, yes, you will definitely, why you're online is because you want to monetize. All of us, isn't it? But the question is, how do you monetize? There is the law of giving. Do you know that law? In church, it said, give and shall come back to you. Full measure, shaken together and running over. At the top of the funnel, as Moses has shared, it is giving. You give. You give because the more you give, the more you will receive. And now you notice that what you know is normally quite kidogo, and it is amplified when you share it. So when you share, people bring different views, and you increase in your knowledge. So use your social media to educate. Of course, it's always top level. You know something, it. But why are we giving so much? Because it's so much more where that came from. So that means, now once we have given, we also accept to receive. That is when we ask you, can you sign up for the 5-day sales challenge? Sign up for 12 weeks accelerator. Sign up to have, for us to plan for your education. I'm just giving an example for you as an agent. Sign up so that we can have a one-to-one conversation on your children education planning. Sign up for your retirement planning. That is how you monetize. The monetization comes way a lot after you have given. And now the challenge with us Kenyans is that we think that we have so many ideas and other people don't. So we hold the ideas, they're ours. Now, I'm here to tell you the bad news, that when you have that one idea, hundreds of thousands of people also receive the same idea at the same time. So let's get over it and focus on the main thing. It's not about hoarding, it's about sharing so that we can develop new knowledge, new information. You become the thought leader because you're developing this learning. I don't think there's anything new in the world to learn, is it? I mean, whatever you know, somebody else know it, but the question is, how do you execute? The how you monetize is the difference. It is always different for each personality, because God created us unique, special, to be able to solve the other people's needs and help them in their dreams differently. So we are all selling life insurance, isn't it? But we don't sell it the same way. Now, that is what is our uniqueness, this personality that we bring into it. So that's about the content creation for monetization. Look at it as the lead generation. You're generating leads. You want to be known, liked, and trusted. And then you invite people for the products. Okay, the other thing is about imposter syndrome. I hear it is so much with women, but lately I've realized it's also with men. Is it true? The more I learn, you see the importance of sharing. The more I share, the more I discover, wow, even men have imposter syndrome. This is whereby you feel like, what if, you feel like, yes, I know, but what if what I know is not enough? What if somebody knows more than I do? I think the confidence to share, the authenticity. Be authentic. You're sharing from your own point of view. Now, my point of view and Moses' point of view are different. So Moses should not intimidate me, or I feel intimidated because Moses is at a higher level than I am. At my level, and I will always communicate to people in my level. Remember? You will attract people who are at your level. So just go out with confidence, knowing hata hiyo ka imposter syndrome, hata wenye naogelesha wako nayo. So let's go, Thank you.
Okay, thank you. To go to the next question, but before we do that, there was the last question that was asked by the lady from ICA that she's talking about, as much as Rebecca has told us so much about data protection, but it was more corporate than the individualism. So as a sales agent, what is the difference? Because you're talking about the companies and the back office. Maybe Rebecca could summarize, then we go to the second last question.
Okay, maybe for me to make sure, I'll ask a question. Do you deal with personal data as financial advisors? Then Data Protection Act applies to you. There's no looking aside and saying I'm an agent or I'm a financial advisor and I cannot comply. First of all, you have to ask yourself, as you are dealing with personal data, are you registered? You need to register. As you are going out there and collecting that data, or as you are interacting with that personal data, are you notifying your clients what you are doing? Like, I'm here, I come from this company, I want to collect this data, or your data will be stored here. These are safeguards that I'm putting in place. So basically, there's no looking back aside about personal data. Another issue, financial data is very sensitive data. As you are doing that, are you carrying out what is called data protection impact assessments? Because a data protection impact assessment is normally carried out when you are processing high-risk data, which the DPIA might not take away the risks that may be encountered or that may come up as a result of processing that data, but it will help mitigate. So either way, as financial advisors, the insurance company might be the controller, but you also have a duty as a processor to comply with the Data Protection Act. Maybe
one last thing, which is if you have a website or a mobile app or anything where you're collecting data, you need to have the clearly defined policies and what they call cookies. So you're telling the data subject exactly how you're taking their data and how you might use it. I don't know if you want to add to that, but making sure that the data subject knows in advance how you are going to use their data.
Yes, actually that is the duty to notify. You have to tell the data subject what data you are collecting, for what purpose, for how long you are going to store it, whom are you going to share this personal data with, do you intend to transfer this data outside the country, and what safeguards have you put in place? And sometimes, as my colleague has said, on your website, you need to put what is called data privacy notices, which might summarize all that on the duty to notify.
Yeah, there's somebody who wants to answer a question.
A lot about data. Are we all together? Now, the word data analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, these are words that are being thrown around. Have you guys heard them? Yes. Does any of you know exactly what they mean? Ama they are just terms?
Let me just confirm. Are we all together? Yes. If you are together, clap once. If you are together, snap once. If you are together, give somebody a high five. If you are together, tap the table. Tuko pamoja.
Sawa, sawa. Thank you, Nixon. So I was asking, I don't think we are together. Okay. So the issue of artificial intelligence, data analytics, all of that thing. I want to ask Moses this question because I know that is his strength. So us as insurance agents, how does this apply to me? How do I use it? How can I take advantage of this technology?
There's a theme that we're using a lot when we talk about AI, which is artificial intelligence, and something they call machine learning, ML. You know, a phrase that I came up with in this space in the future of work, I call it, don't give a human a robot's job. Yeah, and what does that mean? It means that in the future of work, and this is already happening right now, there are jobs that are going to disappear, even in insurance, and that are going to be given to a robot. And I think some of you here already, I know that Jubilee Insurance is already in this space where when they're doing certain types of work and claims processing and so forth, there is something that's part of artificial intelligence called robotic process automation. And those tasks used to be done by humans, okay? So in the future of work, including the insurance industry, the truth of the matter is jobs are going to disappear because some of the things that used to be done by humans are going to be done by software. Now, in the area of artificial intelligence, something very interesting happened in November, December last year, where the company that creates the processors, the chips that do a lot of the AI, including ChatGPT, is a company called NVIDIA. I don't know that you've ever heard of NVIDIA before. Many years ago, it was a platform that people used to use for online gaming and gaming on computers. But the owner or the person who runs that business is a guy called Jensen Huang, all right? It was the first company, I think, in history to reach a $2 trillion valuation, something like 2 weeks ago. But this same guy said something very profound. He said something that also was echoed by Sam Altman, the guys behind ChatGPT, said by the Microsoft CEO, Satya Nadella. And these guys said something almost in unison. They said AI is going to be bigger than the internet itself. Now, guys, I don't know that that sounds crazy, but I started my career many, many years ago, all right, on the internet, which today we all use, and they're saying AI is going to be bigger than that, okay? So when you think about the potential and the opportunities around AI, the thing I want you to take away is instead of you seeing AI as something that competes with you or is going to take your job away, it should be something that you use to be more productive, to get things done in a way that you could not do before. And that way, when you look at AI as almost a companion, or what in Microsoft today they call a co-pilot, it helps you get things done faster, easier, better than you were able to do it before AI. And there are many practical ways that you can use AI, right? For instance, we talked about creating content. If you give AI, like ChatGPT, an outline of the kind of content you want to create on the subject matter, it'll create a post for you. It'll create a content calendar for you. It'll give you something that maybe you could not done on your own. We know in areas like claims processing, applying for things and so forth, people are already using AI in the market. So the question then becomes, from your point of view as an insurance agent, learning what is possible using AI. Today you can use the free version of ChatGPT. There are tools and platforms out there that even people are using to create images. If you go to bing.com, there's something called the image creator. If you don't have images for doing your social media posts, you go in, you put in a description of an image, it does it for you. But there are practical ways that you can start using AI to actually make your work easier for you. Whether it's in content, whether it's doing research, whether it's even writing proposals for your customers. Yeah, when you're trying to explain to them what sum assured means, you know. So use AI to kind of unpack insights and help you do better work. So those would be my points without getting into too many details. But remember, the point is, AI is going to be bigger than the internet, right? If it's going to be that big, then the question becomes, what are you doing to learn everything you can about how you can use AI in your day-to-day work?
All right, thank you very much, Moses, for that. I think some people buy people. Is that true? People buy people. And so you need to be a people person for people to buy from you. Yeah? And then one thing I would want to ask, when you started selling, did you know all the things that you know today? It was a learning process, yes? And the same thing applies to digital platforms. The most important thing is just to start. Do it scared and learn along the way, yes? And we've been given very good practical tips and tools of where to get information, what platforms to use to make our lives easy as sales agents. And also we've been told what we need to protect against so that we don't land in we don't get penalties from the ODPC. So now I want to ask our panelists, I think our final question, because we have a long day ahead of us. What success stories can you highlight from the financial services sector that we can learn from? And then at the same time, how do we keep up to pace? Because the digital space is changing so much. How do we keep up with what's going on? How do we keep learning? Where do we keep learning? And the same question will also apply to Rebecca on where do we learn more about data protection issues. So I'll start with Eunice. So tell us success stories, including yourself, and ways we can learn.
Thank you, Hazel. I think I should be allowed to blow my trumpet today, right? Yes, because I am one of you. And in 2014, during AKI, I was top 20 in AKI. And yes, I was. And how did I get there? I told you that I started my blog in 2012. That time, AI was not there. There were not TikTok, it was, blog was the thing. So what did I do? Even now, it still exists. unisminer.com was started in 2012. And so I started sharing stories about how, money, educating people about money and all. Now, fast forward, 2013, that became my biggest support to my winning the top 20. Because out of the 11 million that I did, 2.6 million came online. Yes. So that's a success story. So you clap. Thank you. Now, where and how can you learn? One of the things that I did in 2020 when COVID happened, I decided to document my journey as an insurance agent. Those who have read, they call it the Sales Bible. I am a scientist. And so I asked, whatever I did, of course I learned from so many other people like Kinawashira here. They will tell you that I was going with other agents to learn how to sell when I was new. But then I asked, there must be something different that I did. And so I decided to document that journey. And I've documented what I would call the science of selling. And at the last 2 chapters is actually talking about digital, the kind of digital agents you can become. You can become an aggregator agent. BeSmart is an insurance aggregator, whereby we enable customers to compare insurance from multiple insurance companies. So how do you want to position yourself? What kind of an agent do you want to be? You can get a copy of this. My assistant is somewhere. I don't know where in this forum. I think somewhere at that corner. Please get a copy of this. Now, you want to learn more? We have courses where we train you on personal branding, using AI to create content, selling, webinar selling. And I'll give you another example. When one of the insurance companies went down, this is an example of bullying and also a success. We decided at BeSmart that we were going to educate customers on what to do when an insurance company goes down. Many of you actually were the bullies. You bullied me. And how you did it was like, no. You're going to destroy the insurance industry. You cannot hold that kind of a webinar. And I was actually evicted from one of the insurance agents forum. because of that. Guess what happened? That is the year we sold more than ever. Why? Because people came. We educated them on what to do. When we educated them on what to do, they even told their friends to move their insurance to us. So when you're bullying, because you're also part of the bullies, you know, I mean, we all bully each other, right? So don't accept to be bullied, and even if you're bullied, go on. I had an option to say, you know what? How can all the agents be against me? And actually, there was another time that I was bullied. When we did a research on the fake stickers in the industry. Did you remember that it was 2019 or 2018? And that one, I even saw online people asking, where are these people? We need to teach them a lesson. I was scared even going to the office. And you know what? That's another year that we made a lot of sales. What am I saying? Bullying will happen. And then, so long as you care about your customers, you will sell and sell and sell. Don't forget about what your colleagues in the industry want. They're not your customers, are they? So focus, keep the focus. So we educate you on how to do that. We have a 5-day sales challenge. We have a 12-week sales accelerator where we walk with you the journey on how to become the agent that you want to become. Thank you. My parting shots, remember, people do not care about you. They don't care about your products. They don't care about anyone else. Why? Because we all listen to one FM station. What is that FM station? What is in it for me? Even you here, you're here because you're asking, what is in it for me? And therefore, don't sweat it. Don't feel that, you know, they're not buying, they're not promoting me. They shouldn't. Okay? Focus on what they care about. They care about themselves. They care about their needs. They care about their dreams. They care about their children, their aspirations. Focus on that, and you will always make sales. Number 2, money is a reward for value added. Now, you will make as much money as you want, so long as you add as much value as you can. So add value. Keep adding more value to your clients. Again, that's a whole thing we can, you know, flesh out to mean what value means. But for now, the more value you add, the more money you make. And finally, you know, keep at it. Keep learning. Continuous learning. Somebody said that in times of change, learners shall inherit the earth. But the learned, you know the learned friends, they shall find themselves so beautifully equipped to live in a world that does not exist. Are you one of the learned people? If you're learned, just know that the world changed and you're living in a world that is not in existence. Thank you.
But for me, I think for success stories, there might be many coming up and you might already follow some of them. I've mentioned about Mama Bima. I think Centonomy is one of the other in financial space. You can always learn from how they took the role of deciding that they'll change how Kenyans know about their personal finance. But today I want you to be your success story. I want to champion you. This, I think being brought together in this panel of such knowledgeable people is really fantastic. But come to ask yourself, we are growing, and in a world where we are connecting with thousands, you've had AI, you've had robotics, there's a lot of changes, but the one thing that will still remain is the knowledge that you have and the personal impact that you can have to a person. So just as a question, how many, in every policy I know you ask the birth date of every customer, right? There's a birth date. How many wish their clients happy birthday? Okay. How many will be able, if you have hundreds or 50 clients, how will you remember all of them? You can't. Tools. You have a calendar, Google Calendar. How many use Google Calendar? Yeah. You just add little birthdays of all your clients when you sign them up because you get that information. It's personal touch. I believe the knowledge of our insurance agents and being able to apply small tools. That one is Google Calendar. What about a customer relationship management tool? Like maybe even a simple software that you can write notes. This customer has 3 kids. This is Alex. He has 3 kids, and this kid is 11, 4, and 5. So maybe when you're talking to them, you can always have personalized notes and remembrances, right? That is the use of technology and data. When you think about it again, you look, I've talked to 30 people this month. How can you look at your leads? I've talked to 50 people. I've only closed 5. That can help tell you a lot. Is it the way you are selling? Is it that your products, the way you're packaging the product is not right? And it can help you have continuous improvement. So I believe that in order for agents to continue gaining momentum, they must continue to stay afloat of the right solutions for their clients. Be knowledgeable, have that personal interaction with your customers. Another question, how many of us now from the session today know a data processor, know a data controller? Oh, no, okay, I thought it would be anybody because everybody is, right? Now that you know that information, I wonder, how many of us have ever sold cyber insurance as a product? Cyber insurance? Yeah, 1, 2. It's a product that's available and it protects people if they breach the data privacy laws. If I am fined by the Office of Data Protection, I saw a school that got a fine of like 20, 30 million, I think. Right? Because what was the data it was just the pictures of the kids. Right? When they go to the school trip, ask your school, have they consented that they can share pictures of your children and sell them this insurance product? You can educate your customer, then sell to them. Go see, how many have kids? How many have kids and they're proud of them? Okay, those ones who are not proud of their kids. That's all of you have a customer, the school. Talk to them about cyber insurance. How many know of farmer? Livestock insurance, right? Because we need to stay afloat and informed so that we can provide the right solutions for our customers. And that's how we will then continue to become knowledgeable and top agents in this country. I think as I also close, continue to become innovative, but also continue learning. There's a lot of resources on the internet, through thought leaders, through small functions. You can always continue to learn because the more you learn, the more you can be a solution provider and you can be a storyteller and your customer can then come to you. So for me, I think that is most important. Keep up to date with your customer, keep a good relationship, and start having enough knowledge to go across the penetration of insurance. There are so many products, then we need to improve how that insurance penetration is. Thank you.
So for me, I think several thoughts. The first thing I want to say is that this content thing is serious, okay? Publishing, creating content based on the knowledge, based on your insights is everything. I think that's the reason why I'm here today, because I've been doing this for over 20 years, publishing, putting content out there, and it's brought me so many opportunities and success. And I think going back to what Eunice has shared as well, that the majority of us are not comfortable or confident about creating content, maybe because of the imposter syndrome. But the most important thing I want you to take away from that is there are 30 million Kenyans out there who need to know what you have to say, who need to hear what you know about insurance, who need to understand how you can add value to their lives. And I think that's a very powerful incentive for you to create content and put it on social media, and hopefully through that process, continuously, consistency, and focusing on the 3 pillars, inform, educate, and entertain. Inform, educate, and entertain, so that they can see you as a trusted advisor, the person who brings you the opportunities to get the most out of life because of the solutions you recommend. The other thing I think that's really important to say is that ever since COVID, the majority of time consumers are spending on digital platforms has increased dramatically, okay? I think all of us now even have an internet connection 24/7 in our homes. That means our consumer behavior today is what we call digital first. Do any of you know, according to data, how much time Kenyans are spending on their mobile phones on the internet every day? Do you know how many hours it is? According to research, Kenyans today are spending 4.5 hours a day on their smartphones, on the internet every day. 4.5 hours a day. And guess what? When they're looking for insurance or somebody to assist them with insurance, where are they going and spending that time? They're spending that time on social media, preferably platforms like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and so forth. And the question at the end of the day is that if they go there, will they find you? Will they find you with the advice and the answer to the question that they have? And I honestly believe that 95% of businesses in Kenya fail for one very simple reason. When people go to digital platforms, they don't find them. If you don't exist online, you don't exist. And if you don't exist, somebody can't transact with you. So think of this as a call to action today, that I need to be present, I need to provide content and value to those potential 30 million customers, but most importantly, I need to be consistent and add value each and every day. And I want to leave off with one thing that I'm going to ask Hazel to do after today. What we've covered today, I think, was just the tip of the iceberg. We need to actually celebrate your success going forward from today, because I'm going to ask Hazel to set up a free training workshop that I'm going to run for all you agents on a webinar together with my colleagues here. And we're going to go beyond this conversation and give you practical tips for free. And then when we come back next year, we'll be discussing how much of your business has happened because of what we taught you. Okay? So next time, the success stories or the case study is going to be you guys.
What I can say at this time is that nowadays people are becoming increasingly aware of their privacy. And gone are the days you can pick someone's data, use it the way you want, dispose it the way you want. As you process personal data, ask yourself, have you registered with the Office of ODPC? As you go out there and you want certain information, personal data from your clients, ask yourself, have you notified them of the use that data is going to be put to? Have you told them for how long you are going to store and any person you are going to share that data with? As a financial advisors, you deal with very sensitive personal data. Are you carrying out data protection impact assessment to assess the risks that come along with the processing of such data? When you've collected that data and say you are walking to your office and your laptop is stolen, people's data has been stolen, what are you doing about it? Are you notifying the Office of Data Protection Commissioner? Are you notifying the controller? Have you put in place measures, safeguards, to protect that data? So as we process personal data, let's be very careful. Let's be alive to the laws and regulations that have been put in place. And my parting shot will be that compliance, data compliance is a continuous process. You cannot do it just once and leave it. You'll continue revisiting and reviewing, and even those policies that you come up with, you'll continue reviewing, updating, doing periodic audits of the same to make sure that you comply. Office of Data Protection Commissioner is not there to punish you. It is there to work with you that work to make sure that you comply. We are very friendly, by the way. We do a lot of advisories. We are very friendly. You've not interacted with us. I come from the Compliance Directorate, and we are the friendliest arm of that office. We do a lot of advisories. We are responsible for receiving data breaches. We do reviews of data protection impact assessments. And please, in case, and also we do registration. If you want to register and you're stuck, just talk to our office. We will walk you through the process of registration. Of course, we have the complaints investigation and enforcement arm, which now, if you don't comply with what you are being told, that is when you'll find yourself in problem. But for the compliance, we are here to work with you. Please feel free to come to our offices. We have regional offices. We have presence in Nyeri. We have presence in Garissa, Eldoret, Nakuru, Kisumu, and Mombasa. Thank you.
Will you also have a webinar for us?
Yes. And by the way, we also have a training department. We do trainings free of charge. And we have our curriculum at Kenya School of Government also. But when called upon, we also participate in trainings as a compliance department.
Asante sana.
So thank you so much, in interest of time. And then we will go to the next session. Now we have 2 ambulances just directly in front of me. So if you are feeling unwell, kindly, you can be attended to in that tent. We also have a first aid tent. And we also encourage you people to, when we go to the field, because there is enough water in the field, try and take as much as possible so that we just avoid the heat wave. So there is one question that one of us has sent to us, and it is talking about accessibility issue. Now this question is from Joram Kibuthe of Britam. And Joram is asking, not all technology is designed with universal accessibility in mind, presenting challenges for users who are physically challenged. So how is that? Maybe I can also get another question, then we can answer all the questions.
In a way, my question was to Sister Rebecca there, but at least amejibu yale nilikuwa nataka, because you are saying to register, na siku anajua tuna register kwa nani. But at least umejibu, your presence is all over the country. Na are we is registration free ama kuna pesa zinalipwa?
Let me take the last question and then we answer all of them.
It's a burning question. So my question is to Moses, because you say that there are 2 panels, or rather should I say 2 digital spaces that are very good for us sales agents, which is TikTok and LinkedIn. Now, the question is, how do I filter? Because unaweza kupost content na ule mtu anasoma ni house help. You know, siko ubaya kwa house helps. So how do you filter your content to get to the right people? Do I hashtag? You know, should I attach an influencer to the content? You know, and I'm Jemima Ndolo, Old Mutual.
Okay, I have one response to the accessibility option one. I think that's a good question as well. I think most of the platforms are trying to address accessibility challenges, for example, visually impaired or physical disability. I know it might not be like Instagram, TikTok, etc. It's pretty hard, for example, if it's a photo for it to be translated to what it might mean. But a lot of them have reading platforms that can narrate. For example, if I go to LinkedIn and I have accessibility challenges, it can narrate what the posts are saying and showing. But I've also seen and engaged with a lot of people living with disabilities who are sorry about that, who are doing a lot of things on the platforms. I have met a content creator who went blind in her adult years, and she was a film producer, and she still produces films, and she still produces videos and YouTube videos in her industry to motivate and inspire people who have been faced with adult blindness. I've seen the Association of People Living with Disability also enables people to be able to, and supports them to be able to create content. It means that I can still be a content curator, and I could be known for that. I could be known to be the insurance expert, no matter my disability. Yeah? So I've seen a lot of content producers go beyond disability to show disability is not inability, so they're still doing a lot of things. And I think capturing the same type of tips we've talked about today will be meaningful. Yeah, thank you.
Registration is not free. However, it depends with the revenue. As I said earlier, when you are registering, you'll be required to have your audited accounts or your KRA returns or estimates of your returns, where maybe you can extract from your business plan, or some do a declaration before an advocate. and the system automatically calculates your registration fee. The minimum is normally 4,000, depending on your revenue, and the certificate is issued, which expires after 2 years, and we are expecting the first renewals this July, whereby on renewal, you'll be expected to pay 2,000 Kenya shillings. The highest amount that is paid is 40,000 for application and renewal of, I think, 20,000. Depending on the amount of revenue, and mostly that will be like 50 million and above.
There was a question, on the type of content you create. A house girl will not be interested in it. So it's the quality of your content determines who watch. However, it's important to know who is your audience so that you speak directly to them. So how you frame the messaging determines who will be interested in your content.
So thank you guys so much. You have a lot of take home. And I know we still have a lot of questions, but we also have to do other things. So just allow us to finish at this.